It's a 30th. Layla, are you in the office? Oh, I didn't even see you come in. You're a ninja.
Sneaky like that.
You are sneaky.
So what's everybody got going on as we wrap up the year? Jacob, what you got going on as we wrap up the year?
Got that one that I partnered on in Vegas on market.
Nice. How's it going? Vegas is a tough market right now.
He said he got a bunch of hits. He sent me some Kai with my friend Corey, got to meet him. He's a realtor there, and I just asked him last night. I was like, "Hey, are we in escrow yet?" LOL. I was like, "Come on, let's go." He's like, "I'm working on it." And then he just sent me some realtors he's been keeping in contact with, following up, asking like, "Oh, what did you and your clients think of the place? Anything is I encourage any feedback you guys got." And they're like, "Oh, they're good. That's their best choice for now." And they just asked if the garage door will be fixed. So then I messaged him back, "Hey, fix that garage door ASAP." Just a regular walk-in door, not like the manual door, just like a regular swing door. So he said he's gonna get that fixed. I think today he said his father-in-law is gonna help him install that, fix that door. So that's what I got. And then I'm in another capital partner for a Bellingham deal. That one should be done in January or February. It was with that Toby Smuckler. She's a realtor. I mentioned it to you and you said you might know who that is. So she's in the Whatcom County. So I visited that property maybe a month ago, and we went to Canada. It was my first time to Canada since we're right there in Bellingham. We decided to eat lunch in Canada and do a day trip.
Nice.
And at that point, yeah, it was good there. It was down to the studs rehab. They relocated the stairs, and they seemed like a very knowledgeable couple. I got a good rapport with them, a good vibe from them. Yeah, I would do business with them again in the future for sure.
Nice.
That's good.
They're solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to do foundation work. They said they had to jack the house up and replace some of the beams underneath. And once they leveled the house, the windows weren't level. So I guess when the windows were installed, they leveled it to the unleveled house. So then once the house got leveled, they had to redo the windows. So it's interesting just learning all this stuff, just starting my journey and just doing walkthroughs. I ask a lot of questions, even with you, Kiko. I just trying to learn as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the other folks know it. We have a small room, but it's kind of cool. I was trying to keep Corey updated too. I don't know, Corey, if you know that Jacob's in on that property with us, invested with us on the Tacoma.
Yeah.
What's cool is Jacob is the project manager. So he goes there every single week, meet with the contractor, walks through, takes photos. And then I kind of help him think about what to look for, what to think about. So it's pretty cool. Jacob's doing a killer job, and hopefully you're learning some good stuff. But so much on the construction side to keep your eyes open for, and it's fun to have you on board. You're excellent.
Thank you.
If you ever quit your job, you should just come on with us as a project manager.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's the end goal for sure. Yeah, hopefully I reach that crossroads sooner than later. But like they say, I want to make sure I'm making enough money on my side hustle, then I can leave my W-2, and make this full time. So as it starts to grow, eventually I feel like I'll meet that crossroad. And once I reach that, I'll be like, yeah, this real estate stuff is pulling me away from my W-2 more. Maybe it's time for me to leave. So I'm just trying to play it safe and smart, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, well, I mean, next year should be a good year to really ramp up and start to build that. It's a really interesting market for sure. So next year should have some good opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff. How about Joe Hernandez? What you got going on as we end the year?
What do I have going on? I mean, we're putting in an offer on a multifamily deal, and I'm just trying to go to as many meetups, like increase my network as much as possible, because the more I go, the more every single time I walk away like, wow, I'm so glad I went, and I'm so glad I met that person. And I have all these ideas for the future. Like, it just grows and grows. The vision just gets bigger and bigger every time, so it's opportunities everywhere if you put yourself in the way of it.
100%. What where's the multifamily at?
So I'll talk about it if things go through, and then because if it doesn't, then it'll just be kind of lame. So we'll see how things work out.
Nice. No, that's fantastic. And what market are you in?
Hawaii.
Okay. So you in you're looking mainland then, yeah, for some of the investment opportunities?
No, actually, I haven't looked there yet. So I want to grow my network out in the mainland. I know a couple people, but not enough to where I would feel comfortable with any one market. I mean, especially because my background's in appraisal, so my favorite thing to do is know the market, you know, and so the one market that I'm super familiar with is here in Hawaii.
Right.
So that's where I'm focusing most of my energy, I guess.
That's awesome. Well, I hope that multifamily goes well. If there's anything you need, let us know.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love multifamilies. Until it hits winter and pipes start freezing, then it's a nightmare.
Ha 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 ha.
But you won't have that in Hawaii. You'll have
No,
cockroaches
just
and termites.
just rust. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. you
Is
got
there
the other-
termites in Seattle?
Oh, some, but not like Hawaii. I mean, Hawaii,
It's
every
too
house we ever owned, bro,
dry.
was termite infested.
Termites like moist or like I guess is it too cold?
I think they like
Termites-
humidity.
Yeah,
I
they
think.
kind of like it
Oh.
humid. They like the moist situation. So, and they like wood. So, get plenty of that in Hawaii for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. Anybody else got
They
anything
just want to be
exciting?
in
as we're
paradise
wrapping
like
up?
everyone else.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they come from all over the world. And they vacation, the termites vacation in Oahu. And then they stay resident. Trying to be a Kama'aina termite. Hey, John Kim, what you got going on at the end of the year?
What's up, guys? We have my first, our first Airbnbs closing here. Airbnb property,
Nice.
Summerlin. Yeah,
In Summerlin?
yeah,
Oh wow,
yeah.
nice.
So
Nice.
we're
What part
getting
of
the
Summerlin?
West Summerlin, right by the Costco out there.
West
um,
Summerlin. Oh, by the Costco. Yeah, that's a great location.
Yeah. It's a 5-bedroom house with a pool. So we're getting the LLC set up right now for that.
That's fantastic.
And yeah, what I ended up doing is partnered up with another sub-2 student, and Pace Morby is actually sponsoring the loan, so he's helping us out with that. And plans for next year, I'm going heavy into multifamily. That's all I'm focusing on. And we're planning to, me and 2 other partners, we're looking to, find out how to start a 506B fund. I was just talking to Corey about it when he was in town, and that's what we got going on the horizon.
Yeah, John's in Vegas now. He was in,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Washington, yeah. Kirkland.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that Summerlin property, are you gonna be able to get a license, or are you just gonna operate without a license?
That's probably what we might be doing, operating without a license, or we might end up just turning into a midterm rental. We're still throwing ideas around.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about Vegas is we looked at so many really good properties, and then, man, the city is just so difficult when it comes to getting a permit.
Yeah.
But I think there's somebody told me like 500 illegally operated Airbnbs in Vegas, and there's
So
just too
they're
many.
having a hard time regulating it.
Super hard time regulating it. So,
Mhm.
I mean, you could probably roll the dice and make some good cash on cash for a season, and then pivot to midterm if you get busted. So long as
Yeah.
the fine doesn't turn out too bad.
Yeah, my buddy was telling me after the first warning from the city, you can be okay. But after the second warning, then you got to listen to them.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's kind of like Hawaii.
Yeah, you just mitigate the risk, yeah. Because if they say, hey, here's the fine, and you're like, oh, it's $100, I'm gonna make 5,000 a month. I can afford the 100, But if it's something kind of major, then it gets a little risky. But that's exciting.
Yeah.
Did you find that one? Is that an off-market house?
Yeah, that was I found that through SMS a few months ago.
Nice. So are you direct
Yeah.
marketing in Vegas?
I'm not doing it anymore because I'm shifted all to multifamily.
Gotcha. So what are you
Yeah.
going to do for acquisitions for multifamilies?
Probably mainly broker outreach.
Gotcha. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Love
Are
it.
you
Yeah.
full-time then? Real estate investor?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Right now I am.
That's awesome, bro. Well, I'll have to hook up with you when I'm back in Vegas.
What,
Yeah, let's do
When
it.
are you going back?
Hey, John,
you
what
want-
market are you looking in?
For multifamily, we're looking in Texas and Florida markets.
Okay, I might link up with you. I'm looking in there as well. I'm in multifamily now too.
Okay, let's do it, Dante.
Dante,
Sounds good.
are you in sub 2 as well?
No, I'm actually with multifamily mindset with
Multifamily,
Tyler DeVoe. A lot of
Yep.
the Hawaii guys joined it, so we got like Daniel, a bunch of sub 2 guys came in as well, and then who was the other guy? I know Greg was there, but I'm not sure if he joined as well. But Courtney Taguchi is all in as well.
I'm thinking
Yeah, I
about
wanted to ask about.
Oh, go ahead, Joel.
No, you. Oh no, I was just gonna ask about that because it seems like a big trend right now, the whole multifamily thing. And I don't know if that's just because, well, one, I don't know if that's just everybody here in Hawaii right now because of the whole multifamily mindset, or if there's just a general market trend towards that right now. I don't know. What have you guys been seeing, hearing, thinking?
I've seen multifamily, that space grow since like 2018, I feel. I think like everybody was in, like, even before COVID, it was pretty, that industry started to expand and it got harder and harder to get into see good deals. I think there's going to be a reset, so look, I feel it's never a bad time to pursue multifamily or real estate in general, so I think, but they do have their like kind of moments in the before it was DSCR, everyone was going after like DSCR loans long term, and then before then it was ground up, and now then it was multifamily. So I think the strategies, like Ikola say, like have its seasons, so just making sure you're pursuing the right strategy in the right season, for not just for the market, but the right season in your life as well, right? Like, if I could go back, I always say this, if I can go back, I would have gone straight to multifamily because, like, typically, if you're a GP, you get paid on the front, the middle, and the back, right? Mm-hmm. So it just makes sense to me. And then you have other things like economies of scale. When you buy bigger and bigger, sometimes deals get easier the bigger you go, because then you're dealing with, real deal players, right? Not people who are kind of here and there, kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're at that level, you're dealing with guys who close deals, in all facets, from the broker to, everyone. So multifamily, I've seen it, I think it's here to stay, but it's always going to go through its seasons of it's competitive, it's not competitive. Right now, I don't know what the space is looking like, but Keikoa would know more. It has been super competitive.
John, I just followed you on Instagram, so hit me back and we can message.
I got you. Sounds good.
Gotcha. Multifamily is a couple of things for Joe. Definitely great season. First of all, multifamily is great hedge against inflation. So that's probably why you're seeing and hearing a lot more about people kind of focusing on that. I think the people who made millions over the last probably 30, 40 years were the quiet investors who bought multifamilies. And they just bought them quietly. They bought 10 units and they got 20. And then now they're 50, 60, 70 years old and they're multimillionaires because their assets went up so high, right? And cash flow was phenomenal. So it was one of those, before these coaching programs became popular, those guys just worked hard. They played hard, worked hard, and they just made a ton of money. These days, I'm a little concerned about all these coaches out there. I don't know all of them and I don't listen to all of their stuff. We haven't talked, Corey and I have just intentionally haven't done a coaching program. We just did coffee talk, but in light of some of the stuff we're hearing, we may do at least some sort of mastermind around multifamilies sometime early next year. We're not experts. We only have a couple hundred doors, but at the same time, it's a space where you got to get the right information, because if you underwrite incorrectly, then you bring in investors and then it becomes a nightmare because you're in a deal that isn't going to be able to pay back the investors nor cash flow. And then you got to for a second round of raise. So it gets to be a nightmare. Markets are really finicky too, so if you're buying a multifamily in Hawaii, you're going to pay a lot per unit, but you're going to have pretty good rents per unit. So that's good, and values could go up. So I think every market's a good market if you really run the numbers carefully for that market. A lot of people like the Midwest. I personally am not a fan, because when the market drops and values drop like it is now, then all of the equity is gone and you're relying purely on cash flow to hopefully survive. But the hard part is like we saw in COVID, it only just takes a hiccup in the job market for tenants to suddenly be like, hey, I'm not paying. And then, you know, as a landlord, you're pretty screwed pretty quick, kind of a thing. But you know, that's just the reality side of it. But the good news side of it is that multifamilies does have some pretty good plays, because financing oftentimes when you get to the commercial side is really based on the asset. So it's not like residential. You can only own so many properties, right, before you run out of ability or financial ability. So it is kind of cool. But yeah, I think it's a great space. So, you know, again, if you need any help just kind of thinking through yours, just let us know.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I think it's also great because it really is like the game cash flows, where it's like the bigger the deals you do, the bigger the deals you're able to do, if that makes sense. Like the more you're able to leverage as well. So like you totally take yourself to another level. You have a lot of bigger costs, but you have a lot of bigger revenues as well. So it's just a different game. But there's also, like, you know, there's retail, there's office. Office sucks right now, especially with ever since COVID. But you know, they have some really good returns as well. So, but I am seeing everybody's just talking like multifamily. They're on this like multifamily hype. Like it's kind of like, it feels like the .com era, like up until Amazon came out, you know, where it was like everybody had a .com and they were trying to hop on that game, but only a few people ended up making it at the end, right? And then they ended up dominating the space. So it seems like that might be something that's happening, especially with, like you were saying, if the hype is coming from all these new mentors and coaches and everything. And you know, like I was actually thinking about this. Well, I think about this a lot, actually. I feel like investors always talk about how, oh, you don't need a job, you don't need a W-2, you don't need to go to school and work for a big company and stuff. Like that's for the suckers, right? And there's some truth to that, but I do think education is important. Like me, I did go to university. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I learned the things that I did. If I could, I would go even get a PhD, like just because I love learning. And I feel like the more I know, the more tools I have in my belt, you know, to do things. Even my education in appraisal, not just the experience. Experience is important, but I feel like experience plus education can take you to like a whole nother level. But nobody talks about that, I feel like, you know. And it's kind of funny because I see all these programs. Like I think the multifamily mindset was like, I don't remember. It was like 50,000 or something like that. 100. Does anyone 40,000? Yeah.
I think it's.
I'm like, bro, you could go. I'm like, bro, you could go get a 4-year education for 40,000 and like not just a you know, couple weeks boot camp kind of thing or whatever. And I get it. I get the whole like having somebody in the game to guide you. That is important, but there's just a lot of things you'll just never learn unless you just put in the time to study.
Yeah, I love that. I think sometimes people sign up for programs because it's usually it's well laid out, you know, and for somebody who may be totally clueless, it's great because it gives you kind of step by step, so long as the coach is credible. I always look at the coach themselves and just see what their actual resume is. Like when people say they own 10,000 doors, I'm like, do you own $5,000 worth of that huge portfolio? Meaning that you're a small GP, but that's what people are doing on Instagram. Because I look at some of them and I'm like, dude, I could bet that you don't fully own those properties, because if you own that many units, you will have gray hair. Like it's just no matter how good your property is.
And honestly, that's you probably wouldn't even.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be on Instagram because you're too busy. I mean, between our units, dude, even though we have amazing property managers, they still have to come to us for everything. It's kind of like, can we send out a plumber? Our Houston property, it's 41 units. Just the other day, one of the toilets backed up, then another toilet backed up, and then we're like, what the frick? So we sent out somebody, come to discover there's 100 feet of sewer line that's corroded and collapsed in. So sewer line's like $1,000 a foot. So if you're a multifamily investor and you don't have the budget to cover that cost, then you're kind of bankrupt, you know? So to keep a W-2,
That's not funny, but like,
yeah, it's the reality, you know, because the sewer guy's not going to fix your line and be like, you know what, just pay me when you can pay me, all good, bro. Nobody does that. They're like, I need 50% before I start. I need 25% when I'm 50% through, and then you pay me at completion, you know? So, so you got to have that bandwidth. And so that's where coaches sometimes check their resume for sure. Make sure that, you know what they're doing. If you're going to do a coach, other options, do what Jake does. He's just like, bro, I want to invest. I get some cash and I get legs, I get arms, and I get stamina. So put me to work, you know? He's like, I'll drive out to the job site. He initially said, I'll get there every day. I'm like, bro, that's kind of far if you're going to drive every day. But that's the kind of person that, you know, investors like us and, you know, even bigger investors are looking for, people like that who are like, hey, I get money, I get time, I like help, but I like learn, you know. It's too many times people come to, you know, other investors, and you probably have this too, and they're like, hey, I want to pick your brain and I want to learn under you, but I got nothing to offer. I get no experience. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't even spell real estate, you know. And then you know, the investors are like, well, bro, I don't have the time to babysit, you know. As good of a person's heart is, but somebody like you, I think, Joe, you're very much like Jake. It's like, hey, don't spend the 50K. Take that 50K and tell an investor, I've got 50K to invest with you, and I want to work. Like, what can I do with my 50K if I come in on a deal with you, and I'm the slave labor, you know, I'll run the scope, I'll whip ass if I need to on the contractor, you know, you know, and I mean, even the other day, I emailed Jacob, I'm like, hey, check these things out. Like, and he probably never thought about checking these things out when he walked through the house, you know. It's like, where does the flooring go to, and how are they hanging? Did you take a level to the cabinets to make sure they're level? Did you check to see that they didn't screw through the cabinetry, you know? And he's like, oh, that's good points, you know, stuff that probably would never get covered in any course ever. Like fine details, but yet those fine details are so important, you know. So Jacob's learning a lot. I'm not trying to do a commercial for Jacob by any means, but Jacob's probably he's a model. He's a model student, I think, you know, because he's a student investor. And so yeah, same with you, Joe. I'm not, again, nothing against anybody who spends, you know, there's people I know who spent 6 figures on mentoring for real estate. And
it's worth every dollar, right?
And you got to wonder if it's really worth every dollar or not. And
you do gotta wonder. It's funny that this is being brought up now, because just driving on the way to the office this morning, I was talking to someone who comes on Coffee Talk too. They're asking about multifamily. They're like, you know, I'm narrowing it down to like 3 different programs. One was Grant Cardone's program. One was, I think this one in Hawaii, and then another one I never heard of. And so my advice was, that honestly, I wouldn't look at I mean, you want to make sure that the person who's, you know, you're buying from is actually experienced and they have a track record, like Kiko was saying. But more importantly, I feel is like, is that the person to communicate the message to you, you know, because like for like Grant Cardone, I honestly, he has some good stuff to say, but he doesn't jive with me. You know, I don't like, I'm kind of skeptical, to be honest, but I just don't like his style. He could teach the same things, and I would not grasp it as much because I don't respect them, you know. Maybe not as a businessman. I mean, he's apparently accomplished a lot, and so there's respect there, but like kind of more, I look at more, this shit ain't just business to me. You know, if I'm going to learn from somebody and trust somebody with, you know, giving me information that I'm going to use, then I want to make sure that it's coming from someone who I like, who I know, like, and trust. Right. So I think it depends. My advice was they're all probably going to give you what you need. The tangible information of what you need, just like what we were talking about last week, right? Like most of like success in business and entrepreneurship and life in general, I think majority of it's held in the intangibles, right? And so when you're looking at trying to make a decision, do I pay 40 grand here? Do I try it myself? Or do I pay 100 grand for this person? it's not about the course and the tracker. It's not just about that. To me, the most important thing is the person who's leading the show. Is that the person to communicate the message to me personally?
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise you're not gonna hear it. If you don't respect them, you're not gonna listen. It's not gonna hit the tangible stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So that was my advice, is like, I don't want to shit on any programs that charge 40 grand, because what if it changes the person's life? You know, because that happens all the time too. Now that happens at a lower percentage. And I feel that some of the courses are borderline unethical just because they sell the dream really hard. You know, that's their job. They're selling training, which is, I have mixed emotions about it. I think there is a line where it's you know, it's hardcore sales, and you're kind of, it's unethical because you're picking at people's emotions. You know, like, they're masters at this. Go to the back of the room. Today only is like 50% off, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all know, you've been around to these events, like, you know how it goes. They're gonna send you to the back. You're gonna sign up, right? So, like, and then you're most likely gonna get upsold into a mastermind or a this and that, you know. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, are you the person? Do you have the time, the energy to go out and figure it out on your own, and go spend the hours it's going to take to research it? Maybe, you know, those are questions that we have to answer ourselves whenever we're trying to make a big investment, because 40 grand is a big investment. You know, like, I can go buy a house in Vegas right now and rent it on cash flow with 40 grand.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I do see I don't want to be too quick to jump on the, you know, that's too much, so charging too, because, like, it could be worth it. You know, it's different for everyone, and I think every course is different for everyone too.
Yeah,
that's why you get the range of, like, people who rave about a course and people who, like, are just like, that thing's trash. You know, like, you'll get both sides because of that. It's really specific to the, like, who's the message. Is that person for me?
Yeah. And I think too, but it's not like they don't have anything of value. Like, I feel like they fast track a lot of the basics, at least, of whatever it is that you're doing. And that's good. And honestly, that might even be the reason people succeed in these programs, because just they needed to know the basics, and, you know, they got that in a nice straight outline. But I think at the end of the day, what it boils down to is, like, what Kekoa was saying about, do you go by Jacob or Jake?
Either or. I'm fine with both. Yeah.
It goes by Super Stud. We call
not even.
So it's like what Kekoa is saying about Super Stud, that you know, you got to be willing to put in the work, you know, like, in some sort of way or another, whether that's, you know, like, busting your butt doing, you know, all this, like, getting your hands dirty, and sometimes getting your hands dirty means you got to look stuff up. You got to take the initiative. You got to figure stuff out. When something happens, you can't just have somebody hold your hand all the time. You got to be able to look at it and say, okay, how can I solve, like, what is this problem, and what do I know and have to solve it, you know? And having people like Kekoa and Corey on your side, that's really great, because someone like Super Stud over here would be, you know, he'll go as far as he can, and it'll go far. And then Kekoa might come in and say, oh, hey, did you think about this? And you're like, oh, damn, I didn't think about that. That's a good point. And now he will. Every time in the future, he's going to think about that, you know? And I think that's the most, I think that right there is the key to success, not just, you know, investing in a program, but really investing in yourself, you know? And if the program is a good way for others to learn, because everybody does learn differently, and, you know, maybe there's a lot of people out there that learning through these programs is the way. But there are, you know, at the end of the day, there's no getting around the fact that you're going to have to work hard in some way or another if you want to have the kind of success that everybody's talking about.
Yeah, that was awesome. In fact, let me throw out one more thing on this topic, because I think it's so good, because there's so many people doing coaching programs. I'd say the number one question to ask when you're evaluating a coach or a coaching program is ask yourself, what is their intention? What is that coach's intention? Because that'll be really important. Is their intention just to do a revenue generating program? Or is there intention to upsell you into a longer mastermind or program? Or is there intention to basically make you a source, a deal source, like acquisitions. So a lot of people do programs, so that way that becomes their network of people searching for deals, and then that coach ends up buying all the deals or helping to fund the deals, but then yet they own the deals and the students don't. So, you know, so you got to check the, you know, what's their intention there. And the other intention is maybe some of them are looking to just try to get your money in one way or another. Or is their final intention just absolutely pure and absolutely passion, because they've been successful already. They don't need a bigger network. They don't need more friends. They don't need another Lamborghini. And really the reason that they're coaching is because they love to help people. And there are coaches out there like that. I have had two paid coaches. One coach, my first coach was the coach that I actually met Corey at. So it was worth every penny because I met Corey at it. The problem is that coach ended up going bankrupt, ended up leaving the industry, completely left the space, and then come to find out his intention was to actually use the coaching program to get people's money, like 6 figures of money, to then use for other purposes. So not only did he take my tuition, but he also still owes me $100,000 as a coach.
Plus interest.
And, that's the guy you told me about, I think.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And no names.
Yeah,
no names specific, but you know, just to show you, like, coaches don't always have the best intentions, though they look good. So always ask what is their intention. But now, so fast forward the tape. Now I'm in another coaching program, and it's running me 150,000, 6 figures, 150K for this coach. And this coach, 100% game changing, because they don't need to coach. They have everything, they made it, and all they're doing at this journey in their life, because they're older, is to give back to the next generation. And it took me, I've heard of this coach for probably a good part of 10 years and just never bought in, watched his character and credibility and other people's relationship. And then it was like, you know what? It's worth 6 figures for me. So I tell you all that to kind of boil back to that same question, is what is that coach's intention? And then if it's not quite the right, it doesn't feel in your heart like a genuinely pure intention, and it's more commercial than it is your success, then I'd move on. Because really what you're looking for a coach is somebody who believes in your success, not their own success through you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got to think too, like our minds, like we brush it aside, but like we have to protect our brain space too. You know, like when, like even from, sometimes you gotta cut the news out because it's all negative stuff, and we may not know it, but subconsciously it's just weighing you down, right? So if we know that mindset is such an important thing in business, then we gotta protect it. Who's influencing it, right? So if I'm gonna pay $40,000 to somebody, I need to trust that their intentions are pure, and that I'm not just here to make them rich, you know, and that they do want to see me win, and that the reason for the 40 grand is they believe that that's a barrier to entry that's necessary to work with the right people, right? So I think if you find the groups that are training, they do charge, right? Maybe it's not too crazy, but it's not too cheap either. Like, and you find that, you know what, they're not making money off this. They're making money off of investing in real estate, what they're teaching, right? And because starting a course, it does become a source of deal flow, a source of money. Why? Because relationships, right? When you buy into a course, it's about the relationships too. Yeah. And when you're training and teaching, the reason why, if you want to see the logic behind being a go-giver, is just look at like being a coach, starting your own coaching program. This is why now I think people are definitely doing it not the go-giver way, right? But they start their coaching program because they know that if they're going to teach people or give content, that people are going to buy it. They're going to come, right? And so that's fine. But like Kiko was saying, I feel like I agree. Like you really want to look through and see what are the intentions, you know, and hopefully you can figure that out by the time, you know, the free event is done. right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
by the time they're selling you for the, you know, the paid version and then the upsell, right? So you want to try to figure out early, is this person, are they, you know, when I first started, I went to New Wealth Advisors Club with Melina, Dave Boswell, and everyone in Riverside. Even though it was my first event, I knew it was different, you know, because they don't lead off with all that. You know, it wasn't anything like that. It was like, hey, this is, you know, the cost, and if you can't afford it, that's okay. Still come around to the club, you know, and we're gonna learn. Maybe you close one deal and then you can buy, you know, buy your way in.
Yeah.
It's more of a barrier to entry to make sure that people are serious, right? Because if you give things away for free, especially information, people are gonna treat it for exactly what it is. It's free information. It's worthless to them, right? But when you gotta ante up, you know, and put some skin in the game, then hopefully that's enough to keep you a little bit accountable, right? We should all be, you know, accountable for ourselves, but it's hard sometimes. So I agree. I think there is a place for these coaching like programs. Like I love it. It's grown our space tremendously. It's helped people change their lives for sure. People that probably wouldn't have ever gotten out of the rat race, you know. So I think we have to be careful with not, you know, telling people to don't go for it. You know, I rather than pay 40 grand and roll the dice on somebody than, you know, and make that mistake than not even risk anything at all, you know, and just accept life happening to them. You know, I'd rather than throw away 40 grand and learn a big lesson, you know, and then keep going, you know, than not do anything. So
anyways. You know, and that's to say too, like I just want to clarify, I if anyone here is a part of any of these programs, I am not dissing on any of these programs, not the multi-family mindset or anyone, because, you know, I feel like the go-giver attitude, it's not to put down others, but to build others up. So I want to clarify that I'm not putting down any of these other programs, but I am trying to say we should look out, we should work ourselves to make ourselves the best that we can, invest in ourselves, you know, and just really focus on what it is that we're doing so we can make the best decisions so we all succeed. And I think that it's like Corey said, I mean, regardless, anything you do, you're going to learn from it, whether it's a success or a failure. You either learn not to do that again, you know, never do that again, or I need to do that 100 more times. And there is a business is a system. It's not just a word, or, you know, sometimes I have a friend that was like, hey, I want to go make and sell these earrings. And I'm like, oh, that's great. You know, like they're beautiful. Like, what's your plan? And like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna sell them. And I'm like, that's not a plan. You know, like a real business, if you want to scale it, if you really want to hit big, you need to understand business. And to do that, you need to understand what the system is. And there are coaches that do help with that. I have a friend, he's actually an investor that wants to work with me, wants to lend me money so we can invest in some bigger deals. And he started a CPA firm, and it was really small, and he was kind of struggling, and he paid for, I think he said he paid like 50,000 or something like that. And within the first year, they helped him build up everything, his marketing, his accounting, and well, I guess accounting, he probably already had that set up, but you know, the different financing strategies and everything to help him kind of build that system in ways that we might not think. So I think having other people, having a team and just being around other people is so valuable, because everybody has a different perspective and we can't do anything perfectly. So if we all pitch in what we can do well, then hopefully it makes up for what any one of us might not do well. And the more that we succeed, and the more that everybody else succeeds, the more we succeed, you know, grow together.
Yeah, a rising tide raises all ships. Yeah. Is it, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Diedrich? Is it Diedrich?
Yes, it's Diedrich.
Diedrich, what's up, Diedrich? Yeah, it's funny. In the chat, Gino Wickman, that book Traction is great. It is great.
Yeah, I just got the referral recently, and this last quarter of the year, I'm trying to focus on building systems for 2023. So I have some things going on set up for 2023, like with system wise. And ever since I started looking at systems, like it's just made things seem more scalable, and yeah, have some things set up for next year.
Nice, love it.
If you guys like one multifamily book, this one's pretty solid. It's called The Hands Off Investor. This guy is pretty much not known. He's quiet, but super successful. He runs a hedge fund out of the Bay Area.
Cool.
And yeah, just the content is awesome. And he talks about large scale deal analysis on multifamilies and acquisitions. And yeah,
Brian Burke, he's been on Bigger Pockets, huh?
Probably, but he's not. He's real quiet. It is a Bigger Pockets book sponsor, publisher, so probably.
Who's that one by?
Burke, B-U-R-K-E.
Brian Burke.
Brian Burke.
Yeah. No, but you know what you said is right, is when the more doors you have, even though you can have like the best property management team, but the more doors you have, like you're gonna be having to manage the property managers. You make decisions, you know, and think through some things. So it's still passive income, you know, it's definitely not, but like it's still something that you gotta have a team for. You know, we don't do this together, or we don't do this alone, we do this together. And the one passive way to invest where it's 100% pretty much passive is what Jake's doing, you know, what we do, right? We lend.
Yeah.
So we got to look at, if you're like, when we talk about diversification, right? I talk about diversification probably in more of like, okay, where's some of our equity deals, where's some of our cash flow deals, what is our legacy plays, you know, and majority is centered around real estate, you know, and it's because we're Main Street players, so we play on Main Street, right? And then but will one day, you know, we put some money in the markets? I probably will, you know, but knowing that, you know, that money for me, if I lose it, I lose it, you know, because I'm not in control of that. It's like gambling, you know. So all my wealth is going to be diversified, but most likely through investments secured by tangible collateral, you know, whether it's real estate or other assets, you know. Investing in companies, I think I'll do that too. You know, I want to be American and participate in the in our markets, right? So but I invest, you know, in other ways, right? And through real estate mainly, because it's what I know.
You know,
is where I don't have a disadvantage.
And even with real estate, it's cool because you can even diversify even there, right? I mean, there's multifamily, there's retail, there's office, there's you know, all kinds of
short-term, mid-term,
market changes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can do all your investing needs, you know, through real estate. And I think that's why everybody loves to invest in it, you know.
Yeah. One thing's for sure is like it's like the whole ecosphere of real estate and finance is not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
The tech industry will get disrupted, like, and possibly the construction industry and this industry and that, but the whole ecosphere of what we are doing is not going to go away, right? Yeah. But it could sway in different areas. Sometimes maybe short term is the hot gig. Sometimes DSCR long term is a hot gig. Sometimes, you know, it's midterm now, right? And so it just moves. So if you diversify yourself, if you think, oh man, all my wealth and you know, money is in real estate or in some fashion, you know, like I'm a lender, I got properties, you know, apartment complexes, I got single family, I got development projects, like I'm not diversified. To me, it's like, nah, you're pretty diversified, you know, like, because like the whole industry is not going to go away, you know. So if you're diversified within the realm, I think you're still okay as long as you're in control of your investment. You know, that's the main problem. Let's take ownership and accountability for our own wealth and our own legacy, right? Because who else is gonna do that? Nobody else. Like, we should do that. We should want to take care of building our wealth and our legacy. So if that's the case, then we shouldn't be putting our money in the hands of other people who are gonna use it, you know, take mainstream money and play on Wall Street, right? With I mean, no real repercussions if they lose your money. other than, you know, you'll fire them. But so does anybody have anything like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just going to say, and that's why I say continuing education is important. I mean, it's not that you have to go to a 4-year university or get a PhD or anything like that, but you do have to, like Kekoa, I can tell he's really intelligent just because he knows how to read the signs. Like he talks about the market, and no, I mean, we were talking about the market last time, and he was coming to these different conclusions based on like, you know, we all have an opinion, but your opinion has to be based on something, you know? And so, you know, he can kind of, he problem solves, he analyzes what's happening, what is happening, and what does it mean, you know, and what should I do because of it? So even the idea of passive income, I don't think there's truly anything that's passive income, because you have to work in some way. If you stop trying, if you stop learning, if you stop pushing, you start losing. And so it's like, you just want to ask yourself, how long do I want to win for? You know, am I going to keep, because as much as you put in is as much as you're going to get out. And even you can, the beautiful thing, what makes passive income to me, that is just the ability to have my time to be on my time. I can do things when I want. You know, if I decide to take a break, then I'm going to take a break. And whatever consequences may come because of it, I'll figure it out. You know, and being able to figure it out, because especially with real estate, that's all we do. Every single deal is a new problem, and you have to find a way to solve it. And then when there's a problem like water freezes and the pipes bust, what are you going to do about it? You know, like, you have to be able to, you can't just throw your hands in the air like, oh, shoot, I don't know what to do. Well, you can admit that, but then go figure it out. Yeah. and then go figure it out, or find someone who does, you know, like, and that's the
because then you create another problem. Your tenants get a lawyer, then they sue you. Then you got more now you got more active income.
yeah. No, but it's okay. Like, it's your life. You get to live it your way, and that's the beautiful thing about real estate. But just never stop learning. Never stop, you know, because there's always going to be something new, and the more you know, and the more people you know, the better you'll be capable of resolving that issue. I actually heard a quote once. People say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. But I've heard it's not about what you know, it's about who you know and what they're willing to do for you. And what, you know, like, just because I have a friend with $1 million doesn't mean he's going to give me $1 million. You know, just because I have a friend in construction doesn't mean he's going to build me a countertop, you know, or whatever. Why would they do that for you? What value do you bring?
Well, friends don't ask friends for discounts. That's what my boy Alexander said, right, Alexander?
What are you talking about? Alex asks me for discounts all the time. What are you
I know, that's what I was saying. And he said, you know, he said, you're not a friend, you fam.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
So fam gets manipulated. I like it.
Yeah.
Kekoa has 5 degrees or something. Yeah, bro. So he is a very intelligent guy.
All the show, bro. All the show. I just wear tank tops. Like the tank top guys.
Don't let the tank tops and the guns you know, fool you, bro. This guy's smart. Every now and then I'm like, oh, that was a smart one.
you get the looks.
Oh,
I get the smarts. I just look them up on YouTube, bro. That's all I do. Just before coffee talk, I look them up. I'm like, I can repeat that one sentence. That's all I know. That's awesome. No, Joe, I couldn't agree with you more. It's who you know, and I think you said, and what they're willing to do. But I'd even add to that, like Jacob, it's who you know and what you're willing to do. Like Jacob came to us and he's like, here's what I'm willing to do. And then I met what we're willing to do because of what he was willing to do. And because, like, I mean, we're generous. Like Corey and I don't mind giving away money, but we won't give it away to just anybody just because that's who we are. We'll give it to you because of who you are and because you're generous, and we know you're going to steward the money well. We know you're going to reinvest it and then you're going to pass it on. Then it's like, hey, you know what? We'll write you a check for $1,000. You know, we'll help you out. We'll mentor you. We'll coach you, whatever it looks like. So yeah, no, I think we're all on the same page. And I think I guess this whole thing turned out to be a coaching call. I think maybe the best way to end this topic is just to say, like Corey and I would be happy to coach anybody who wants to get into the space, especially multifamilies. It's going to be a big deal in this next season for sure. And that's why you hear people like Grant Cardone advertising his programs, and Bigger Pockets, they're talking so much more about multifamilies, because I think the generation of people flipping houses, at least through the recession, is going to get a lot quieter because it's a lot riskier to flip houses, and Bigger Pockets started by flipping. So they had to come up with a new topic. And I would not say flipping apartments are any easier. In fact, it's a lot more work, but it's repetitive work, because like when you remodel one house, you're trying to think of the design for that house, and you got to buy a different house. But when you get, like, we have 160 units, it's the same color in every single unit, the same flooring in every single unit. So it's kind of nice, but problem is that when you get something that goes wrong, it's like it multiplies. Yeah. So yeah, we'd be happy to share with you all of our ups and downs. Corey and I are going to be investing a lot more through the recession as well. We are going to be doing multifamilies. We're actually looking at a lot of single families too for more midterm rentals. So really pivoting.
And actually, are you gonna make that call today, Kiko? You make that call, yeah?
4 o'clock, yeah. We get a snowstorm, bro. My only thing today is try to get to
so you guys not driving. Oh, okay.
Oh,
good.
Dude, can't even get out of the driveway. Try look at my Instagram. Can't even move the car.
Oh, I believe you. I'm just saying that every time I go there, it's sunshine,
I think you land in the wrong state is where I think you end up. Like, I think
I don't know. I'm feeling a certain way with these glasses, though. This got me going, man. I think I might just I know why Alex wears these.
I know you're feeling a certain way because we're looking at you with a certain feeling as well.
Sexy, huh?
But that was the word I was thinking. But hey, if you can pull them off, try walk to Ala Moana today for the whole day.
I'm not that brave, bro. I'm not that confident, dude. Come on now. I'm an introvert. You know me.
I'm gonna tell Layla to follow you with the camera.
Okay, we'll get Chick-fil-A then. We never got Chick-fil-A, yeah? Chick-fil-A for lunch.
Man, those lines are crazy. You gotta wait like 2 hours. You gotta go start at breakfast time if you want lunch there.
Still? The lines are still long?
I don't know. I mean, at least I went a couple weeks ago and it was like that.
I spoke with the worker at Chick-fil-A. They said go there between 2 and 3 and you'll get the shortest line.
Okay. Oh, right on.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Dante. Thanks for that tip.
Yeah.
Well, I had to ask. I was like, when is the slowest day or when is the best time? They said there's no slow day. It's the time. You go there between 2 and 3. I don't know about now because school is out, but they said when school is done and everything, like everybody picking up their kids and all that. Lunch is just finished and all that. So between 2 and 3 is the best time.
That's so crazy how Chick-fil-A is such a big thing, right? Because like you go to it's like every other fast food chain, but before we kind of end the call, this actually was very, very fitting for what I'm thinking about going into this new year, because we are looking very hard at Vegas and we will be buying properties out there. And like I went, we're gonna have to go back, multiple times to get a feel for the market, right? Like I said, like I want to feel the market. I want to be able to feel it. And I feel like I'm getting close already, just even after this first trip. And really, it's a thank to John Kim, who's now in Vegas too. He came and met with us, and Jake for setting up a meeting with Kai, who met us there, and then Chris and Sheena, who used to come on our coffee talk, but now they have obligations during this time. But they're friends who we met through Zoom, and I got so much good intel, like just from sitting down, like what area we want to focus in, because I think there's emerging markets within Las Vegas, which is in a downtrend right now. It's on sale and it's going to be even more on sale. So like that alone is value for any type of coaching program, is getting to meet a bunch of people, right? So I think there's definitely value. I don't want to underplay any type of coaching program. And in fact, part of our strategy is because we don't have, unlimited money in our banks that we can use to put down for turnkey properties that cash flow from day one, because for me, I feel like this part of this, what we're about to go through and what Vegas is going through right now is what I've been preparing for my whole career. gaining the knowledge, learning how to serve homeowners, solve their problems, help them out, help service my investors, get the crew busy, all that stuff has led me to this point. Now, I don't think it's not like we're gonna have like years upon years of a recession so that we can buy. I don't think so. I really hope not. But I think, if we maybe a year max, right? That okay, let's close as much as we can. If we have 12 months before things start to turn around and rebound and come back, that's not that much time, especially if it takes 30 to 45 days to close one house, so we need, what I'm thinking is we're going to run out of capital to put down. So we don't have much time. So we're going to acquire turnkey, but it has to hit certain metrics, right? It has got to cash flow from day one. And it's got to be in certain areas, right? And so once it checks the boxes, we dump as much money as we can until we're broke, until it's all out in assets. And then we give it some time for our operations to produce more profits, for us to earn more money, right? Maybe that's one quarter. In 1 quarter, we'll have enough saved up to go buy a bunch more. But during that quarter, when we don't have any money, now what do we just sit on the sidelines? No. I use what prepared me for this time in my career, the Super Bowl, right? And so we're going to switch to value add and creative finance, sub 2, right? Because there's going to be a lot of great sub 2 deals out there with great mortgages, so when you don't have, just because you don't have money or access to money doesn't mean you should be on the sidelines, is what I'm saying. Because if you learned what we've learned over these years, then how to buy real estate without using your own money. And so we're going to buy value adds. In fact, the same developer that is selling these turnkey properties and the price is dropping, like it's going down quick. Imagine when we run out of money to buy their turnkey, then we start asking them, how about the ones that are mid-construction? How about I buy that? Because I can actually buy that without any of my own money in. If I'm buying long-term for a legacy portfolio, I have to put my own cash, or our company has to put its own profits in it, right? We cannot misappropriate of funds. So we're going to run out of cash, even though we have a lot of cash and we're cash heavy. We're going to run out. And so what do we do when we run out? We don't just stop, because we're professional investors. We've been trained, I'm going into my 12th year now. So like over these years, we learn, what do? We just move to value add and creative finance, business as always, build the team in a new market, and business as always, so, and then maybe after 3 months, once, our earnings have accumulated, we'll buy some more, and we just keep rotating this cycle until the party's over, and then we sit back and then we enjoy the ride. That's the game plan. So that's why I'm saying, like, even though when I first started in 2011, like I missed that one, because one, I came in 2011, but I missed that opportunity. We had a little bit of it in 2020, but actually that one was dangerous, because it was a quick bounce and up. So, but this, I think, hasn't been any more clear indicators. I think the people who are going to miss out on this ride are the people who they didn't pay attention to the intangibles, to the information that everyone and all the gurus and all the people who've been through recessions have been saying, is like, this is when investors make their wealth, build their legacy. And that's what I'm doing, so that's what Kekoa is doing. That's what all of us on our team are doing. Every single person in our company, I told them we should go sit down with Chris, find out what you're qualified for. And if you're not qualified yet, find out what you have to do to get qualified. And then we got to start using the brain, start using what we learned over these years to get into deals without any of our own money, so we know how to do this. It's just take action. We gotta be trigger pullers. So anyways, that was just my last kind of thing I wanted to put out there, because there is value to these training programs, but we gotta utilize it. And in fact, I want to talk to the guys who are in sub 2, because I think I'm joining that group. Like, I want to join sub 2. I want to learn more. You know, it's been a while since I closed a sub 2 deal, and I think I can bring a lot of value to the group because I'm looking at real life examples, you know, where we'll be closing some deals. So I don't know who's in sub 2 in this group, but you know, if you have time, I'd love for you to reach out to me because I think that's the right move. I'm coming in. I want to learn this shit. I hope there's like
my mentors are in sub 2. Yeah, if anything you need help with, you can be sure to hit me up on any questions on sub 2. We're actually looking at right now and selling notes. I don't know if you're familiar with selling notes, especially if you could like wraps. If you put interest on your notes, and that way you become a financer and you're getting those monthly payments. Yeah, notes is what my team's looking at right now. But if there's anything you need on the sub 2 or creative finance side, you can be sure to hit me up. I'm also big out here in the 9th Island. I created a group chat at Sheena and Chris's last meetup. I don't know if you heard about it, but yeah, I got that group chat pretty big right now. We have like 50 people from all types of levels of real estate investing. Yeah, for the 9th Island. So that's my way of bringing value to people. So like if there's anything you need, I could always shoot the question down to my group chat, or I can send you the link. And if there's any questions you have for the Las Vegas market, you can be sure to ask it in there.
Love it. Thank you, DJ. Appreciate it, brother.
Of course.
I will reach out to you. Yes, sir.
Look forward to connecting.
Yeah, I love how you call it the 9th Island, you know, because it is going to be the 9th Island. It is the 9th Island, and it will stay the 9th Island. We come in.
Let's get all 9th Islanders. Let's get together first weekend of January. Corey's going to be in town. I'll be in town, so we can.
Can we do second week of January, bro?
I don't know if I can, but we could see. That's one of my
first week is. Oh, how about at the tail end? We'll figure it out, bro.
I'm there every other week, bro.
Okay, but we're gonna be in Vegas more. So if anybody is in Vegas, like, in fact, we're looking for an office space out there. So,
awesome. Stan Lopez. That's the commercial guy right there.
Well,
man, awesome.
Everybody, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for always jumping on our calls. Like, you guys are family to us. So, you know, I think unless, you know, you guys are opposed to it, I'll be on the Friday calls all the way to the new year.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
I'm traveling next Friday, but if I can jump in, I'll jump in.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas,
everybody.
Iris.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Hello, everybody.
LA Kalikimaka.
LA Kalikimaka. Choo.